Ever notice how Sundays you wake up and you feel awesome? You have a bunch of energy throughout the whole day. Yet, Sundays you wake up and you can barely keep your eyes open. Well, in this video you will learn how neuroscientist Andrew Huberman uses science in order to have way more energy every single day. My name is Ante, and on this channel you will learn how to become way more productive while working way less amount of time, proven by a bunch of science, bunch of experts. So let's get into it. So back in high school, once I actually started going out way later than I should have into the night, I would come back home at like 12 p.m., so I would fall asleep at like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., maybe even later, some days I would watch Netflix, for hours, after I was actually out too, so like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and I would go to school in the morning, and I would like watch that alarm, and it was like, you gotta wake up in 3 hours, 2 hours, and I was like, great, obviously it wasn't great. So I would wake up and the whole day was a mess. I barely got through it. As I said in the intro, I barely held my eyes open, and there's nothing worse than that. Like, I sacrificed some, I got to watch my Netflix show, or I got to stay out later, okay, but the whole next day I felt so much worse, and that made me so much more irritable. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I couldn't concentrate in school, outside school. It was worse in every single way. It's like a negative domino. One falls and it's all in negative direction. That's pretty much what happened to me. But today and every single day, I realize this more and more. Sleep is something that should be a priority, not the other way around. I realized this mindset that helped me a bunch. First realizing that sleep is a state of maybe even the highest productivity. I mean, you are not awake. You're not conscious. So you don't really understand, you don't recognize how productive it is just because you are literally not conscious. But think about it. When you wake up, you feel so amazing. Like after a great night of sleep, you feel so amazing. You have a bunch of energy. You can do everything that you wanted to do. You can pretty much control yourself way better. You're way more positive. The whole day is a completely positive domino effect. As I said, complete negative domino effect when you have bad sleep. No, everything is positive, better, greater, pretty much, all in a good direction. And pretty much everything that you wanted to do that day is way, way, way more likely to get accomplished if that's the case, if you get good night's sleep that night. How do you actually improve your sleep, and how do you not forget about the priority of how important sleep pretty much is? Well, Andrew Huberman is a neuroscientist and professor of ophthalmology, if I'm not mistaken, at Stanford University. And here's the biggest advice from him that I literally pulled out for you, so you can make your sleep way, way, way better. Before I get into the more, let's say, advanced, first make sure that you actually know when you want to go to sleep and when you want to wake up every single day. Obviously sometimes you will go to a birthday, a wedding or something, and it's gonna be messed up. You're gonna stay up all night, but that's an exception. So try to not make that a routine every single day or every other day. If you have to, then let it be on weekends only. So pretty much once you decide when you're gonna go to sleep and when you're gonna wake up, set an alarm for to remind you, okay, I'm gonna I have to fall asleep in 30 minutes, meaning I have to be in 50 minutes in bed. So let's say bye to everybody, and whatever you do, as part of your night, whatever you do before you go to sleep, to the people you live with, and pretty much be in bed 15 minutes before you actually fall asleep. Why? Because in order to actually fall asleep by 10 p.m., you gotta be in bed at least 15 minutes before. Maybe 10 for you, but why not, more won't hurt. So I think that's a good starting point. If that's too much, then let it be 10 minutes, but then stick to those 10 minutes. That's maybe even better. Make it even easier. Just 10 minutes before, So that's the first thing. If you're an entrepreneur who wants to make way more money while working less, then click the link in the description of this video and I'm gonna help you personally, one-on-one, with making that your reality. Second thing is pretty much make sure to not be on your phone last hour before your pretty much before you go to sleep. If you can do it more, sure, do it in the future more, but start with like an hour. Just if you go to sleep at 10 p.m., from 9 p.m., don't be on your phone. Put one of those apps that blocks you from being on your phone and set an alarm, so so it's way more easier to actually stick with that change. And pretty much besides that, and why is that? Well, let's hear some science.
Earlier, I said that you need a lot of light, in particular sunlight, to set these clock mechanisms. That's true, but there's a kind of diabolical feature to the way all this works, which is the longer you've been awake, the more sensitive your retina and these cells are to light. So that if you've been awake for 10, 12, 14 hours, it becomes very easy for even a small amount of light coming from a screen or from an overhead light to trigger the activation of the clock and make you feel like you want to stay up later, make it harder to fall asleep and disrupt your sleep pattern. Okay, so the simple way to think about this is you want as much light as is safely possible early in the day, morning and throughout the day, including blue light, and you want as little light coming into your eyes, artificial or sunlight, after, say, 8 p.m. And certainly you do not want to get bright light exposure to your eyes between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. And here's why. Light that arrives to the eyes between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. approximately suppresses the release of dopamine, this neuromodulator that makes us feel good, is sort of an endogenous antidepressant, and can inhibit learning and create all sorts of other detrimental effects. It does this through a mechanism, for those of you who want to know the neural pathways, that involves light to the eyes that's then signaled to a structure called the habenula. When that habenula gets activated, it's actually called the disappointment nucleus, because it actually makes us feel less happy and more disappointed and can lead to certain forms of depression in the wakeful state.
Because that, at the end of the day, that's why you want to not be on your phone last hour of the day. And when you wake up...
So get up each morning, try and get outside. I know that can be challenging for people, but anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes of sunlight exposure is going to work well for most people.
If it's sunny days, summer, then you don't need to watch straight up at the sun. Just watch in that direction. You can literally watch, at the ground, and the sun's still going to go into your eyes. And what this is going to do, this is going to make it so you have way more energy throughout the whole day. Your body is going to realize, okay, it's time to, wake up, do everything that I need to do. And at the end of the day, you want to, preferably when the sun is going out, you want to also look at it for a few minutes in order to signal to your body, okay, the day has ended, and in order to and by doing that, again, you'll be way more healthy, and you'll way more easily go to sleep at the right time, because your body got a sign, got a signal, okay, the day is over, I'm gonna go to sleep in a few hours, pretty much. So that's the most important. Literally, if Andrew Huberman taught me anything, is like he would start, besides being consistent when you go to sleep, it's pretty much that you change your behavior regarding your exposure to light in the morning and at night, pretty much, and the sun, when the sun is going out. That's literally what he would start first. That's why I'm hammering on this. So I gave you a bunch of advice. Honestly, this is probably way more than enough for you. If you want to go more advanced, when you actually go to sleep, don't force yourself. Pretty much just meditate, install app like Medito, Headspace, and so on. Just type in meditation in your phone, and pretty much follow meditation before you go to sleep once you actually get in bed. And pretty much you'll fall asleep way more easily, because your body is going to be so calm if you follow it. There's the meditation specifically for falling asleep. So that's pretty much it. You can go more in depth into it. I could say don't go. Yeah, the last thing is so simple. Don't eat before you go to sleep. This might be even the most important thing by some people. Definitely. There's one guy who invests millions, Brian Johnson, invests millions into his health, and his last meals are like 12, at noon, pretty much. So he has like 9 hours before he goes to sleep. I'm not saying you need that amount of time, but pretty much eat 3 hours before bed, 4 hours, and the last meal, if you're gonna eat it, 3 hours before bed, and 4 doesn't matter. Preferably, it should be a smaller meal, not a very heavy meal. So that's pretty much it. I hope I helped you with this video, and I hope I will help you with every future video of mine. So that's it. See you in another one. Bye.